Well, that was quite the episode we had this week. Very emotional. Very, yeah. Like whenever you get into a character's backstory, when as an important character in anime, usually it's tragic. They usually had something really bad happen to them, and I think we could have probably expected something like this from Raphtalia, just because she was, yeah, in the slave trade and all that, and demi-humans being mistreated. So yeah, that was pretty emotional, and I was watching it at work today, and I was like telling myself, "Hey, don't cry, don't cry." I mean, it wasn't that bad. Like it wasn't as bad as when I like bawled my eyes out watching the that backstory from Naruto's birth, or other things like that. But this one was still pretty emotional, where I was pretty sad and didn't want to look like it at work. I was just watching it during lunch, and yeah. So this episode, Raphtalia, she this she ends up not killing the guy herself, which I mean I think that's what we expected. Uh, the shield hero kind of talked to her and was like saying, "Hey, you haven't only grown, with the sword. Like you've basically grown in other ways too." And I think it was saying like, you've kind of matured. You probably you should probably know that killing someone out of vengeance is probably not the best thing. Probably not like something that would actually bring you closure. And you could probably say he was right, because she didn't end up killing him. He ended up falling off the window himself, and Raphtalia was still beating herself up for it. So like, imagine if she actually stabbed him through the throat. She probably would have just hated herself. Which is, when it comes to these animes, it's like they're fine with killing things, like fodder, like beasts and monsters or whatever. But then it comes to killing other people, guards, whatever, they get a little more careful and emotional, which is just I guess that's just how things are. But anyways, so they spend most of the time down in the dungeon room, trying to see what can they do if they could free anyone who's still alive. They did find some people. I would have thought there would have been more. Of course, we get into more of what happened to Raphtalia before, like pre-wave and post-wave. So I guess she survived the fall that her parents. I mean, we know she survived, but I guess after she was pushed off the cliff and her parents sacrificed themselves, they ended up. She ended up going back to the village, and her friends Keel and I think it was Rifana, something like that. They wanted to boost the morale of their village, the remaining people there, and try to rebuild with what they had, and they were going to do good for themselves, until of course, more of the corrupt, evil guards. I guess they're all Idol's guards. They come in, kidnap everybody, or I guess they kidnap some. Keel wasn't brought in till later, which was probably why he was still alive. I wonder how long it really was between Raphtalia's, that wave and when she was captured, and then until Naofumi buys her from the slave trader. And judging by as we know, Rifana was killed by her corpse being completely decomposed and just being a skeleton. It was probably a good amount of time passed, which means Keel was really kind of brought in pretty recently. Yeah, and I guess we could address that. Yeah, it was pretty graphic for an episode. I guess watching children get tortured is never an easy thing to watch. They didn't go the whole Goblin Slayer route, which I'm not sure if it's even that graphic in the original work. But yeah, like, because things, medieval ages, just stuff like that. Bad things definitely to women, especially women slaves. Like, things can get a lot worse. It was still pretty graphic to see, Raphtalia and Rifana being whipped by that whip. Just the way they drew the body, just like being like just shook by the whip. Like, it's just like, oh my gosh, was pretty bad. But yeah, so Raphtalia, she was in her moment of despair during the end of the episode, and it was pretty nice to see Naofumi comfort her, basically bring her back up, just like how she did to him when he was full of rage. And it was just nice to see it all come full circle. Like, Naofumi is there for her, she was there for him, and she's managed to save people. She couldn't have saved everybody, right? She was powerless back when she was just a little girl. And and when she when she meets up with Keel, he survives somehow. He doesn't recognize her because she's all leveled up and grown up. And yeah, maybe he'll be a prominent character in the series. Maybe he'll grow up to be a strong warrior too. I guess we'll see. So afterwards, they leave the dungeon with the survivors and all that, and they find out that Idol's still alive. So Raphtalia really shouldn't have beat up herself, because that guy he survived the fall from whatever story that was, but he decided to release a demon that was, I guess, sealed in an obelisk from the past heroes. So my assumption is, since the heroes decided to seal it, that means it's actually like pretty strong, like that they were able to kill it. So I don't know if Naofumi and the gang are able to stop it. There's a number of possibilities that could happen. One is they do stop it. They manage to beat it with their Naofumi pulls out some new techniques or whatever, or they get help, which I think is the more likely thing, since again, the thing must be really strong since they sealed it. So my guess is maybe the sword hero by now is kind of caught on to the corruption and the manipulation going on. So maybe he comes in, and possibly the bow hero, who's always close by with him, they come down and help him fight this monster. I don't see the spear hero really having any epiphanies anytime soon. He's kind of single-minded and single track minded, and also he's too close to mine. I'm sure she has a pretty hard clutch on him. So yeah, good to see Melty see the horrors of the land. I guess she was one of those sheltered princesses or whatever that didn't know exactly what was going on, and I think it's good for her, because we know that she's next in line for the throne, and we know that she's a good person. So I mean, in the future, we kind of figure that the kingdom is in good hands with her. But it's good for her to see firsthand, what people have suffered through, about Raphtalia, Keel, all of them, and hopefully we'll get to see the queen and figure out, what exactly the political situation is, since the queen isn't actually in the country right now. I also noticed that the shield hero, or any of the heroes, like I guess Raphtalia and Rifana and all of them, they never actually met the heroes, but somehow they decided that their favorite one was a shield hero, which is curious. I mean, I guess maybe the shield hero has been more accepted by demi-humans in general. Maybe, I mean, this kind of goes with my theory that, the heroes, they're summoned probably based on their personality, right? Like a certain person is meant for the role of the shield hero, which is why I would assume that the shield hero has problems politically with, like, the lords and all that of the land, because the shield hero sees the injustice and tries to fix it and tries to change the system, while the politicians out there, they want to keep things the way they are, so they get all uber defensive on them. So that might be a reason why they picked the shield hero over anyone. And it was nice to see some closure with Rifana, her little dialogue with Raphtalia at the end. That was pretty nice, like, just at least just to know that that she finally could meet the shield hero and sees that her friend has made it this far and is fighting for her and fighting for the good of everyone. It was just very heartwarming at the end to see that. Let me know what you guys think. What will we see next week? Do you think the shield hero and the gang have what it takes to stop this monster, or do you think they're going to have some help? I feel like they will, but we'll see. If you haven't, please subscribe to my video. trying to grow my channel. I do enjoy doing these, and hopefully I'm going to get better and, learn how to, speak better and make better videos. So thank you for the support, and I will see you guys next time.